So here we are, the end of Tuesday here in France, the 110th Electric Off-Road European Championships. We've had 3 rounds of qualifying today, and just before we start talking about the results of qualifying, take a look at the track surface. It's been really hot here, up to 25, 26 degrees. On the racing line itself, it's really smooth track surface, but if you go offline, it's really very dusty. So the key in the later rounds of qualifying in particular has been to keep the cars on the racing line, running a little bit wide, as then push the cars further and further on the dust, and they've lost even more time. So into the actual qualifying results. In round 1, which was held around about lunchtime today, Neil Cragg from Great Britain was fastest from fellow Brit Paul Bradbury. Then into round 2, it was Lee Martin who went quickest, and importantly he did a faster time than Neil Cragg did in round 1. Now, it's not FTQ qualifying, it's round by round point system, but if there's a tie on points, it's going to go back to the fastest time. So that is could be really important coming into qualifying. Anyway, behind Lee was Neil Cragg finishing in 2nd place. In that second round of qualifying, we saw problems for both Peter Pinish right at the very start of his race. He had got 5th in round 1, but missed the start of 2nd round. And Hupo had a big mistake in halfway through his 2nd qualifying round and damaged the car. He'd picked up a 6th in round 1, but a very low score in round 2 for him. Moving on to round 3, it was a German driver, Jon Neumann, who in fact topped the timesheets, putting a slightly surprising one. He'd been 3rd fastest in both round 1 and 2. Lee Martin was 2nd overall and Neil Cragg was 3rd after he hit the side of the straight on the very opening lap. Lee Martin he had to let through, who'd started behind him on the track, and then just managed to keep pace with Lee. Sometimes looked faster than Lee, sometimes Lee looked faster than Neil, so it was really nip and tuck between those 2 drivers. So overall, we'd count the best 2 scores out of the 3 rounds we've had so far, and Lee is ahead of Neil thanks to that faster time we talked about earlier. He set in round 2. Let's go and have a chat with Neil, who's sitting in 2nd place, about his results from today.
Practice was really fast yesterday, and then this morning it was okay, but it could have been a little bit better, so we changed the setup a little bit.
The track's evolved quite a lot, particularly from practice yesterday and today, and then to the qualifying rounds. Do you think it's going to keep evolving as the race goes on?
I think it was really dusty when we first started, and then we swept it off a little bit, and the cars are still sweeping it, and it's in places it has blue groove, which is really good. I think maybe lap time should stay very similar. I think should be good.
Now, it is a fairly long lap around here, around 30 seconds a lap, even for you top drivers. Does that make it harder to learn the track because you're actually getting less laps on it every time?
I never really thought about it like that, to be honest. But yeah, it is a long lap, I suppose. I think it's the 8th scale track or something, but it's scaled down a little bit. I mean, especially on clay in 2-wheel drive, I find it's just about keeping the car rolling. You know, not trying to stop starting corners, just trying to sweep it and keep the car moving. And I find that's always faster.
So behind the 2 British drivers, Jorn is sitting 3rd overall. He sounded pretty happy with his car when I spoke to him, particularly after his 3rd round of qualifying. Some small changes he's going to make to his Durango to improve it in tomorrow's qualifying rounds. 4th overall, Paul Bradbury, despite him having a tumble in round 2 of qualifying, so round 2 proving treacherous for lots of top drivers there. Peter Pinish rebounded to 7th overall, so 7th in round 3 to move him up to 5th overall, and that completes the top 5 at the end of this first day. But tomorrow we've still got 2 more rounds of qualifying, and it is only the best 2 scores that count. So essentially drivers can write off all of today if they want, and then just count the scores from tomorrow. But obviously the drivers with those good scores today looking to build on them, improve their scores tomorrow. You can stay tuned to F1.ws throughout the rest of the week for all the action. As I say, we've got 2 more rounds of qualifying tomorrow, so we'll have the qualifying roundup. We'll then have all the action from the main finals. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter at RCRacingOllie. I'll have loads of extra behind the scenes bits for you as well. But stay tuned to F1.ws for all the action here in France.